Welcome to the Patriots Lab, where we ain't even trying to make them liberals mad. Cause freedom of speech is what us individuals have. It's the gift when we gab, talking about things that the brainwash cannot mentally grasp, like staying loud and waving our American flags. This is for the free thinkers, wearing their MAGA and wearing the cags. Draining the swamp is the ultimate goal, but the sheeple will swear it's a fad, like it's just a phrase. But when we show them the facts, the fools got nothing to say, and deep government state wanna get up in our face, but hasn't done it yet cause Trump's in the way, trying to protect us from a troublesome fate. And because of that, we'll never lose our faith, plus God keeping us cool and safe. But I still hope we get 4 more years so we could throw a huge parade. I can see it now, Patriots on a float, and POTUS will go down in history as one of the GOATs for making the swamp pay for taking every one of his votes. His enemies are the cancer, whether or not Trump give him the smoke. Now relax it back and take notes as we kick facts with the homie Ray though. Speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we ain't even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. I said, speak your mind in the Patriots Lab. It's freedom time in the Patriots Lab, where we not even trying to, we make them liberals mad. Speak your mind. It's freedom time. Without even trying to, we make them liberals mad.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Good evening, people, patriots, whoever you consider yourself to be. Welcome to a wonderful, great edition of Thursday Night in the Lab. And I have my co-host for this very special occasion, none other than Randy, the genealogist Rose. Hello, Randy. How you doing? We got 5 in the building already. I love it. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing fine, doing my William.
I'm doing good. So we have finally gotten to debate night. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the early edition, to the early show. We got a lot to go over, a lot to discuss. We're gonna go over a lot of things. How was your day today?
That's good. That's good. I'm getting ready for this evening. My fellow hosts here at Studio 6 News Broadcast said they're Trump supporters, and when they heard I was going to be taking the show this evening to be on the side of President Joe Biden to discuss this debate, well, they said it's going to be a cold day in hell before they would do that. And so that's why I'm here with the scarf around my neck, because it's a cold day in hell. And here we are at debate night. My man Biden is going to be on par. Yes, he is.
So, can you tell me what you're expecting to see from your guy?
Tonight? He's going to walk up to that podium with a stern look in his face, with a steadiness in his legs. He's going to almost march like a soldier up to that podium. He's going to take command of the stage, and he's going to make a fool out of that man, Trump.
Well, yeah. You know, how long has Joe Biden been doing this here?
Oh, come on. But then, you're going to pull this age thing on me here. So look, so my man Biden, he's been in office 60 years. He was successfully reelected 6 times to the Senate. So I mean, the fact that he was reelected 6 times shows you that the people want him and they stand behind him. So don't go start trying to pull this age thing on me here. He's a very viral man.
Well, they tend to say that he's behind closed doors anyway. He's sharp as a whip, and if we've seen him today, he kind of stumbled up the stairs going up into Air Force. What do they call that little one?
The helicopter.
Yeah, the little helo. I was about to call it Air Force One, but that's not Air Force One. I forgot what they call
it. That is a good question. I am not sure what they call it, but come on, folks. He stumbled. He didn't stumble. The guy wears a size 12 shoe. Come on, that's a big foot. Now you tell me, get out there. I want you to measure the steps. Tell me how wide those steps are going up to that plane or a helicopter or going into a building. A 12-inch foot. That's a big foot. And you know what's going to do that 12-inch foot? He's going to kick it up Trump's ass, and he's going to shove it around inside, and he'll bring out the brownies. That's what he's going to do tonight, folks.
Okay. Well, and we need this because if we can bring both sides, that's why Randy has graciously was willing to participate. Him being a staunch Democrat, we figured that this would help us keep us on the air if we had somebody that could come on here and basically just point out the demonistic ways of Donald Trump and how he is just trying to separate the people of America. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of demonizing things coming out of the former champ. But what do you expect the former champ to do? What do you expect the former champ to do you expect him to come out swinging? Do you expect the former champ to come out in a defensive posture? What do you expect from Donald Trump?
Yeah, he's going to come out. He's going to be ready for a fight. He's going to put the gloves on, and he's not going to take them off till after he's off the stage. He's going to come after my family, after my son, Hunter, who I stand 100% behind. He is the son that every father wants to have in the family. I'm so proud of his accomplishment. But he's going to come after my son. He's going to come after my wife. He's going to come after my daughters. And he's just going to try and destroy me. He wants me to get angry. He wants Joe to get angry to where Joe is going to make mistakes and goffles. And that's not going to happen. My man's going to be on point. He's going to respond accordingly. And he's going to bring out the faults of Trump.
Okay. Now, let's get back to your guy, Biden here. Will Biden, will he try to run on any of his accomplishments? Will he try to run on any of his policies that he's implemented that's done such a wonderful job for this country?
Oh, absolutely. First off, he's going to bring out the fact that he was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a high accomplishment. He received that in 2017. Very proud of that accomplishment. He is a college graduate. He's going to talk about that, about his degree, his double degree in history and politics. He's going to talk about his time in sports. He lettered in sports. He was in baseball. I mean, even during that time frame, my man Biden had a stutter problem, and he knew that. But he overcame that by using different techniques to talk. He uses dashes to show to overcome the stuttering problem. He also had he was accomplished in the fact that he was able to. Let me get my notes out here, folks. I am prepared. I can't find it. I apologize, folks. But
That's okay.
but the big one is his Build Back Better policy, and it's working.
So you believe that the policies that Joe Biden has implemented are working. Let's go to the tail of the tape. Now we see the age difference. We got Trump coming in at 79 and Biden coming in at 82. Does your guy, is Biden at a disadvantage when it comes to the age? Because you know they talk about age a lot. Is Biden at a disadvantage being a few years older than Donald Trump? Is that the reason why people just don't like your guy, because he's just a little older than Donald Trump? Is that the reason they don't like him?
Absolutely not. Age has nothing. This is a Trump derangement thing that he's pushing. His folks are pushing the age factor. I want to tell you what, There are soldiers from World War II walking around in their uniforms, showing up in parades, marching down the street, proud as ever, and they are older than I am. Age is nothing to do with it. It shows the quality of time. It shows how I've been able to stay in politics as long as I have. I've been very successful, and my mind is my man's mind is spot on. There is not a speck of what they're trying to say is dementia. They're trying to say my man has dementia because of his age. It is not dementia. It is just me, my man, being my man.
Okay. Well, you see who has the reach advantage. We have we got height. We got the height advantage. Do you think Joe can get on the inside of Trump, being that he's a little shorter? You think he can get on the inside and get inside Trump and work on the inside and get to the head a little bit?
Okay. Let me tell you what my man's going to do. My man is going to take his deep set blue eyes. Blue eyes, they are attractive. They bring you in. And that smile, my man, that charming smile, the smile that everyone talks about, is going to think that I am his friend. He's going to come in. He's going to be unaware that my man is sucking in him. And then when it's time, my man's 6'2" and it's 215 pounds, size 12 shoe is going to kick his ass.
Okay. Well, I can see that happening. Well, let's move on to the next phase here. Years experience. I would say that goes to your guy. I mean, the record doesn't show it. I mean, the record, 50 plus years, Trump been around 8. Why does Biden come in as the underdog with all of the years experience under his belt? Why would you think that?
Well, my man, he was the 5th youngest senator of the 29 senators. He was he was the 5th youngest one. So he came into the Senate race young in age. He didn't have the elderly experience as some do going into a Senate race. So he was a young man when he went into the race. And don't forget the tragedy that came to my man soon after being elected senator, with his wife and daughter being killed in a tragic car accident. Now, many a man would have fallen to his knees in despair and taken off work to be home with the 2 sons who were also in the accident and were recuperating from the accidents. But my man stayed in the office. He did his due diligence and he worked. So don't think my man is undermined, because he is not. He is strong. He is virile, and he's going to kick ass tonight.
Okay. Well, we're gonna see. I think Trump, with the less years experience, is a little bit more fresher. He's not so beat up and battered and worn down. I think the fresh legs will prevail in the end. I think the youth, the exuberant youth, will overcome the age of Joe Biden, even with all the experience that Joe Biden has. I think the youthfulness and the exuberance that Donald Trump shows.
Yeah, the youthfulness. What about the felony? My man's going to go to prison before he sees the White House again. I guarantee it. My people are in place. My man's people are in place. They're doing their job to dig up dirt, to make it stick, to make sure that man goes to jail.
See, you already we're not even 15 minutes into the broadcast already, and you've already gotten to the point I haven't gotten to yet. Is your guy gonna bring up felony every chance that he gets on the microphone? Is that what this is all about? Why the silencing of the microphones? Why the mutation of the microphones? Answer that for me. Why did they do that?
Well, John, look at what how Trump was when he debated with Hillary Clinton. He kept interrupting her. He kept walking up behind her and making like he's the big bad man and that she should be afraid of him. I required that my man required the microphones be silenced to keep his mouth shut because he can't keep his mouth shut. He can't stay in his lane. He doesn't know the barriers that when someone's talking, you shut your mouth. He has to always be up in your face. And that's why the microphones are going to go dead. But you know what? His mouth is so damn big, he won't need a microphone. You watch. That man's going to overpower my voice, and he's going to be heard anyways. And I'm going to make sure that every chance that I get, I'm going to bring up the felony charges. I'm going to bring up the J6. I'm going to bring up about the voting irregularities that his people implemented. He won't stand a chance.
Okay, hey, for the followers and the viewers that are on here, y'all already know who this is, Randy Genealogist Rose. But he is basically, that's the Trump train going by. He's basically laying out the playbook of the
followed by the Biden train, pushing alongside.
Yeah, look. But you know what? They say it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. So now we know Trump is from Queens, New York City. Come on, my guy is from New York City. And your guy, he don't know where he is from day to day. He claimed he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. But then what's the other part of Pennsylvania he like to hang out in and say he from there too? He from a little bit of everywhere. So who has the advantage?
Who has the advantage? The man that has been everywhere and has talked to people and is able to put himself into their shoes, into their way of life, and can say, "I am you. I am Spanish. I am Chinese. I am Puerto Rican. I am this. I am that. I am you." That's what Biden's going to push. The fact that he can be whatever he wants to be, and showing people that they too can be whatever they want to be or whoever they want to be.
Okay. I got a question, and maybe you can give me some insight on this. Why'd your guy have to go away for 7 days? You know, you would act, I mean, after all, it's his policies. I mean, this is a referendum on Biden, so he knows exactly what he's done. So why would he have to go away for 7 days to study the messed up policies? What? Why did he go away? Tell me, why did he go away for a week?
He did not go away. He went back to not only to prepare for tonight's debate, but also to be informed of the Ukrainian-Russia war, the Chinese stealing the cargo ship. He's also being kept in the forefront of North Korea sending troops to Russia to fight alongside the Russian troops against. He is prepared for potentially the United States being drawn into World War III. That's another thing. People are saying that my man is going to bring us into World War III, that it's his reason why we're going to war. No, that's not it. He is keeping us out of war. It was Trump's policies that got us where we're at and allowed Russia to invade Ukraine. It was not my man Biden. My man is trying to keep us out of World War III, and he's doing that by supplying weapons to our ally, Ukraine. So my man didn't go into hiding.
Okay.
He is prepared for all the worldly things that are going to happen while being prepared for tonight's debate.
Okay. Well, you know.
And don't forget, folks, this is Randy from Studio 6, out of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, home of the Amish, Jeep Dunkers, and the Quakers. Stop by and see us, and we'll give you some Dutch food. Really good food for you. Put out by my man, Amos the Quaker.
I don't understand how you continue to support a man that okay, how do you so tell me what Donald Trump has done that makes him a racist, being that your people for some reason think that he's like Hitler. Give me some example. Can you give me some examples? Because I ask them all the time. I ask people all the time if they can give me some examples, and they can never give me an example.
Okay, this is okay. Hitler, when he was in power, how did they greet him? Like this. Oh no. Yeah, Hitler, hail Hitler, hail Hitler. What do we have in the rallies? MAGA, 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 MAGA. The arms up, showing the same thing with only two arms instead of one. My man is not going to stand by and allow Trump to come in here with his dictatorship attitude, with his racist attitude against the Spanish. He wants to deport millions of men and women and children who only want a better way of life. And they're coming here hoping that we can provide that to them. And we can. We have all that open land out there. We have the mountains, the ranges. We have all that land to bring in all those people. And we have the farmers to feed them. So my man is trying to bring those people in, and your man is trying to keep them out, saying they're dirt.
Okay. So you continue to think that Build Back Better has really done wonderful job for the people of America.
Absolutely. I stand behind Biden's Build Back Better policies. I see it in myself. The bridges are being rebuilt. They're being built bigger and better, more sturdier to carry more weight, more cargo weight. The electric grid is being repaired and upgraded to prepare against any type of attack to bring down our electric grid, because we want green. We want electric cars, and to get that, we need the grid up and running. And my man has to make sure that happens. Your man, all he wants to do is dig oil. He wants to dig the oil out of the ground, that dirty, filthy liquid.
Oh my goodness. Hey, people, patrons, whoever you consider yourself to be, we are live. We are at the pre-show, pre-debate, whatever you want to call it. I got Randy the Genealogist Rose. I don't think he could describe the Democrat Party any better. Mr. Green Thumb from Ottawa gives you nothing but laughs. Yeah, it's hilarious what the extents that they go through to really try to manipulate and brainwash us. And being that I do got the YouTubers in the building tonight, please know and understand that I will not hesitate to block your ass, as a couple people have already found out in this very short episode. So keep up with the crazy comments, and you too will get fired. But you know, that's all I want to know. And he said, what time does it start? The debate actually starts at 9, but we're having some fun. That's what we do in the lab. Remember, the link is already up there on YouTube. The link is up in Facebook also. If you want to come to the live show, come on in. I've already sent out a couple of links. Only got for so many spots, so you know what time it is. But we're going to get into some nitty-gritty here, because let me see what I have first up for these good folks. Because you know we come prepared. We just don't come for nothing. We come prepared. So I'm trying to see which way. First, what I'm going to show right here is I wouldn't mind this man being our president. You know, it's well and good that me and Randy can come on here and shit and giggle, but when it comes down to the actual and factual of it all, the state that we're living in right now, especially as Americans, something has to change. So I want y'all to sit back and go ahead and just watch this last bit, not last video, but this upcoming video. It's a little lengthy, but I hope it draws you in and captures your attention. I know it did me.
Fantastic, fantastic. How's everybody doing? Good. Very first thing we're going to do, as always, we're going to give thanks to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Are there reporters in this room somewhere? I can't see through the light. It's the mainstream media here. If you're here, I want you to hear this. Hear me. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you do in your newsroom. I don't care about your plans and your schemes to bring this nation down with your Democratic friends. Why? Because Jesus Christ is still on the throne. You may have your news cameras and your satellites and your 24-hour news, but Jesus Christ holds the world in his hands. And he holds me in it as well. And what he has for me, you cannot keep from coming true. It may not be the governor's mansion. It may not be any political seat, but you will not stop Jesus Christ's will in my life. So I do not fear you. Write your stories, tell your lies, tell your half-truths. But Christ is still on the throne. And because he lives in my heart and I live for him, I know whatever I need to do on this earth for him, it will get done. So we give him thanks first and foremost. Guys, all these other guys that come out here and talk to you about the issues, we know the issues. The wide open border, crime on the street, fentanyl killing our children, pornography in our schools. We know about the issues, the failing economy, the precarious place the United States finds itself in on the world stage with its enemies. The horrible, absolutely dreadful administration that is currently leading our nation right now. It is mind-numbing to think that the most energetic, the greatest nation on earth, people seek to come to for that vaunted thing that we have, the freedom and energy and intelligence that we have in this country. And all 350 million people are being led by somebody who just barely knows that they're here on earth. We know what the issues are. But I didn't really come here to go into details about the issues. What I really came here to do, I came here to get something started. See, because we got a problem in this country. We got a bunch of clapper-trap people that sit behind news media desks and want to talk about fake trials for President Trump. Turn the television on, they talk about first one actor and then another actor, talking about all manners of foolishness. Talking about MAGA Republicans being the most dangerous people on earth. I don't know. I didn't see any MAGA Republicans on 9/11 blowing up buildings and airplanes. I don't think any MAGA Republicans were over in Israel murdering people. And I don't think a MAGA Republican gave them the money to be able to do it. See, we got folks in this country that don't want to talk about the substantive issues that all of us face. The things that we just talked about, that wide open border, the precarious place we find ourselves with safety and security on the world stage. They don't want to talk about your pocketbook. They don't want to talk about the fact that your children are in schools where we spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for those schools, and the children can't read on the grade level. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the fact that every single solitary policy that they propose and then pass yields horrible results. They don't want to talk about it. Why? Because it proves an essential truth. It proves an essential truth. What is that truth? The simple truth of the matter is this. They call us the right. We sit on the right. And we not only get called the right and call ourselves the right and sit on the right, we are right. We are right about every single solitary issue. When we say, shut that border down and deport those who are dangerous to our country, we are right. When we say, children should not be sexualized, we are right. And this nation knows it. When we say that it's your money, you earned it, you worked for it, the government should not be picking your pocket, we are right. See, we are right. Too many of us are ashamed to be right, though. Some of us, we go to work and folks start talking about politics and start standing up saying, I think Joe Biden's doing a wonderful job. And he's a nice man because that President Trump is just mean. I just don't like the things that he says. He's just mean and arrogant, and he's a bully. If I hear that one more time, I am going to go crazy. This man is fighting. Let's list the people he's fighting. He's fighting almost the entire news media. He's fighting all the Democrats. He's fighting all the communists. He's fighting all the socialists. He's fighting all of our enemies across the ocean. And sadly, he's fighting half the Republicans. How is this man a bully? How is he a bully?
If you are within 20 years of retirement, or if you're already retired, all of your hard-earned savings now could be in danger. Why? Because we
see, we hear that at work sometimes. Some of us are a little shy about stepping up, standing up, saying anything. People look at us and say, why are you a Republican? We say, well, you know, my mom voted Republican. I like Ronald Reagan. I think he did a great job, and I like Reagan. And so that's why I'm a Republican. We shy away from the truth. We don't want to look at that person and say, you know, well, wasn't it the Republican Party that was formed to stand up for the Republic? Not the democracy like you see played on the news every day. You see, them folks want a democracy. They want the mob to rule. They don't want this republic. And they don't want Republicans standing up for the republic. You're going to tell them that, yeah, wasn't it? Well, they say, well, the Republican Party is the party of old white men. It ain't coming off. And while we're on that subject, wasn't it the Republican Party that fought a war to free the slaves? How many Jim Crow laws were passed by Republicans? Wasn't it the Republicans who ended Jim Crow? I want to see their souls saved. Every single solitary person. And each and every one of us that calls ourselves a Christian should pray vehemently for their souls, that we would see them in heaven and forget about all this when we get up there. My second dream is this, and it's down here on earth. One day, years from now you look at them old photographs and you can tell what year they were taken. I want an old photograph to be sitting up on somebody's shelf. In a home somewhere, I don't know where it may be. Could be here, some other place. And I want somebody to pull that photograph down and look at it and say, who is this man? And I want one of my grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, or great-grandchildren, right here in the United States of America. I live in freedom today because he was standing up to stand up and give me the same kind of freedom that he grew up in. To me, that would be the single greatest honor on this earth. Now, I sincerely hope that each and every one of you would want to have that honor as well. Now, before I leave you, I want to leave you with this. Who are we as Republicans? Who are we as conservatives? Who are we as patriots? Who are we as MAGA Republicans? I boil it all down to this. Earlier this month, we celebrate what I call America's St. Crispin's Day. D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. The spirit of MAGA, the spirit of us, the spirit of the American patriot is embodied in those boys, in those boats. It lives inside of the hearts of each and every person in this room. It lives inside of the people who go back home and get politically active and are bound and determined to change the circumstances of their cities and their state and their nation. It exists in those moms who had the unmitigated gall, according to some, to go down to the school board and demand that their children not be sexualized. It lives in the heart of every patriot who decides to put their name on the dotted line and serve in office. It exists inside of Americans who love this nation. The heart of the boys in those boats on that day is literally the epitome of America. When times get tough for us, when you get scared, when you get nervous, when you think you can't win, think about them boys in them boats. Think about them bullets hitting that door. Think about the fact when that door opened, they didn't run to the back, they ran out that door. Bullets be damned, death be damned. I'm here to save my country. You think about them, you remember them, and you remember their sacrifice was not in vain because it lives in you, and it lives in me, and it lives in all of us.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that extended clip. I know a couple of people didn't. I can see by the comments in here. But that's okay. Only Facts, what's up? This one is too short. I'm sorry if y'all don't like my clips, but that's why I have my own podcast. And that's why you're watching and I'm not. I got Brother Bruce, my brother from another mother. I believe he is over in the Philippines. Bruce, how are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Everything worked out for, excuse me, sorry. Still trying to wake up. Everything's worked out, man. So, like I told you last night, yesterday morning for you. So, everything worked. I'm very happy to be here to hear this. Excuse me. Very happy to hear this. I want to hear this debate thing, man. I'll be watching it on my phone.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they go through to pull this off. And you know what? I'm glad that was really you. I thought you got hacked, bro. For real. I thought you got hacked.
I did, but
no, check it out. My cousin, somebody asked me the other day, and I thought it was my wife's younger cousin, and she's on Facebook, and I didn't know how to use the transfer thing to transfer money on Facebook, and she got me to transfer it. Come to find out, it wasn't even her, because after I sent her 50, she asked for 100, and I sent her that. And then I called my wife finally, and I said, call your cousin and see if that's her. Damn well, come to find out it wasn't her. So I was like, man, ain't nobody getting me again. I was like, the hell with that shit. But man, I'm glad you're okay. That's the bottom line. You got to be careful when you're over in them other countries. So, Mr. Randy, I know you're back there. You was typing away. What do you think about what Mr. Robinson had to say in the direction of the country, and when he talked about the soldiers that sacrificed? the doors coming down, the bullets flying in, and dare not one run towards the back, but run towards the beaches of Omaha and others. This is serious, brother. This is what they fought to prevent against. Is it gonna be all in vain?
Now, am I answering as me or as my pretend?
Yeah, we had fun. We had fun. We it is
Okay.
the 8 o'clock hour. Welcome
good.
everybody.
So I'm gonna put my sheet cards away. To answer your question, okay?
Somebody has something playing. Does anybody have an audio device going?
Nope, I heard that during the video. It sounded like someone was talking.
It's me.
It's you.
Yeah,
Okay,
and-
so oh, there you go. I have a bad cord connecting my microphone to my headset. So one of these days when I have some money, I can buy a new cord. Okay, so look, you know, I've always said, okay, and this is me talking. This is Randy Rhodes, the home genealogist. This is not that fake person that was on for Studio 6. Someone will shoot that guy. You know, our grandfathers went off to war. Some by choice, some got drafted. I'm not to say the majority was drafted, but there were some who actually joined up because they wanted to be a Marine or they wanted to be in the Army or Special Forces or something like that. And they went off to battle to foreign lands across the world, okay? Because those citizens, those men, women, and children are being invaded by either Japanese, by the Germans, by the Russians, or some axis in between. And they didn't have the ability to defend themselves against an overwhelming power. So we came in with our B-12s, B-2s, B-52 bombers. We came in with our Hellcat fighters, our naval forces, our battleships. We came in with superior power. And our men, knowing that perhaps guys to the left of them or to the right of them is not going to, maybe both, were going to die that day going on to the beaches. But they knew they had a job to do, and that was to defeat the enemy. And they did defeat the enemy. And they brought peace and prosperity back to all of Europe, back to the United States, Australia, England, and our other allies. But I want to tell you what this administration is doing, not just Biden, but all the Democrat administration is doing, the open border policy. That's bullshit. Our grandfathers fought to secure the borders of France, of Spain, of all the other allied countries from an enemy. They did not do that just to open up our borders so that our country could be invaded by multiple millions of primarily men to come to our country to rape our women, to torture our young people, to break into our homes, to steal and loot and burn and murder. Our grandfathers and our fathers fought for this nation, for our people to be free. I have no problems with someone coming into our country from another country. Do it the right way. Get vetted. Let's make sure you're not some nut wacko guy. Let's make sure you're not a rapist that's being released from prison. Let's make sure you're not a murderer who is being released from prison to come to the United States. We don't want you. We want the men and women who come to our nation who will make our nation better. Bring us your skills, your ability to make something, to knit a certain whatever, or to draw, or to paint, or to be in architecture. We'll take you to our schools, our university. We'll teach you. We'll make you a better person. We don't want the trash of other nations coming to our shores. And it pisses me off when I see it every day on video where illegals are breaking into our stores. They're holding and raping our young women. And they're getting away with it because the laws are protecting them.
Right.
This election is the most important election in the world. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. As much as I love President Trump, he is not going to be the president. It's going to be taken from him.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see in the very near future. But
Hey,
before we go,
I wanna,
go ahead, Big
say
Bruce.
something. I
Go ahead.
want to say something. Okay. I'm not gonna spill a bunch of nonsense, or I'm just gonna just say this. Okay. If people are going to vote. Okay, vote whoever the hell you want to vote for. Okay, you want to vote for Biden, vote for Biden. You want to vote for Trump, go for Trump, vote for him, go out there for him. Okay, but I think people better start waking up. People need to stop this bullcrap, fighting this nonsense. I am to the point where I'm tired of hearing the blaming each other. All Americans are doing is hurting each other because political people that are powerful, that have lots of money, are telling you to do this, or they'll tell you to do that, or they'll say this or say that. They don't give a damn about us. All right? Go out and vote for your man if that's your man. All right? Whoever it is. Go out there, put your heart into it, and be about it. But let's stop this hatred, because it's not getting anywhere. It's going to get worse. I'm telling you right now, it is getting worse and worse each day.
Okay, well, you bring up a good point, Big Bruce, because and this isn't, you never take anything personally, so I ain't worrying about it.
No, I don't take it.
Why do people want Donald Trump? I mean, do we not understand, and it's just a yes or no answer, do we not understand that this man was done severely wrong, that this man was criminally charged falsely, his family was abused, so we're just supposed to forgive and forget? That's what we're supposed to do, because what it sounds like is people don't want to see people be held accountable, because sorry, but yeah, some dirty shit comes along with accountability, and if it seems to be harsh or whatever under you being held accountable, it is what it is. They haven't been too shy about what they've been doing to Donald Trump, which has been illegal. So why should Donald Trump shy away from doing anything to them that is legal?
Well, I still look at everybody that breaks the law should be held accountable, and
Okay.
that goes for anybody. Again, I'm not going to sit up here and defend anybody. All right, you know what my stance is. You want to sit here and say that the guy has? I agree. They have done some crazy stuff. I would say that they've even overcharged on a lot of stuff, and that they've took it a little too far. But if you're going to do one side, you got to do the other side. Okay, and I'm not just talking about Hunter Biden. I'm talking about anybody else that does anything wrong on the left side. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So
you're talking a clear across the board sweep. If you're gonna
Exactly.
do something to
You
one
can't just
person,
put
do
one
it to
side.
everybody.
You can't just do one man. I'm sorry, you can't do that. It's just if you're gonna do it to him, you got to do it to others too.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
and
there's
if
still a
they're
lot of
going to
things.
laugh, then you got
There's
to.
still a lot of things in the works, as we all know. Nothing, nothing. Everything we talk about is merely speculation. Nothing has been concrete yet. There's been a lot of damn sheetrock, but nothing has been concrete yet. So I guess until that happens, nothing is literally actual and factual. But in case you are looking to tune in tonight, let me tell you and show you what you won't see. Just a little bit, if y'all do remember.
Already been established.
President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating.
Oh, wait a minute. It tried to slip out
Stand
on me.
back and stand by. Stand back and stand by.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow
Are you in
it and a little
favor
bit
of law and order? Go
Yes,
ahead,
I'm
say
in
it.
favor.
You
Everybody's
asked a
in favor
question,
of
let him finish.
law and order. Law and order.
Let him
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly.
Mr.
Protect people
President,
with
I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Go
your
ahead.
question.
Your party
is
wants to
simple.
go socialist
My
medicine
party is
and
me.
socialist
Right
healthcare.
now, I am
And
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right
So Randy, would you say that this is probably one of the reasons that they wanted the microphones muted?
A-
You was pointing this out earlier.
Absolutely. Trump knows that for him to get his point across, he has to be rude and aggressive. And I got they're told that. The people who prepped them for the debates want to see the energy. They want to see the action. They want to see the interaction between them, and that's how they score points. Okay.
Okay.
But that's why they want the microphone muted, because he's going to keep interrupting Biden throughout the entire night to make sure that Trump's words are heard, and that he stumps on Biden, because he knows also that Biden's going to get flustered. He's going to start talking stupid. He's going to lose track. He's going to lose I know he's been prepped, so it's going to totally throw him off his game to make him look like a fool.
Hey Bruce, do you think Trump just can't help himself? Do you think that it's just his nature to just over talk people, so it's a legitimate reason to have the mics muted when you're not speaking?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is his thing. He wants to be heard.
Right.
There's people out there like that. They just want to be heard. Maybe he just wants to be heard. You don't want to listen to the other side. I mean, obviously you just seen it.
Yeah.
Don't you want law and order? Don't you want law and order? What I mean, it's him. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if that's the case. I don't care. They want to keep interrupting each other. Let them do it.
Let's go on and see if they struck any points that we remember from the last debate.
now. The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I, in fact, approved of.
First of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised.
The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
Okay. Let it finish just a little bit.
You
I just
agree.
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
graduated last in your class, not first in your
I-
class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy,
Go,
the
go,
wrong
Joe,
night at
go.
the wrong time.
Listen,
That was really
Did y'all see that, Randy? That Trump kind of got under Papa's skin at that moment.
Yeah.
He looked like he was ready to fight Trump at that moment. He
We-
said you picked on the wrong guy at the wrong
And,
time.
and that's the response he wants from Biden. He wants to bring that out because when he does, he loses control. Meaning Biden, he loses control.
Right. Oh gosh, let's continue.
Productive segment, wasn't it? This is
Delivering
the
to
same man.
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
By Easter, this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically.
That was the whole issue relating to COVID. He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you a lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
Randy, do we get to see this Joe Biden that we see right here, right now, focused? Like,
Well, he'll
looking
come
like
out
he like-
focused. He'll come out focused because he's been arrested. He'll come out focused. But Trump, just like in a boxing ring, and he knows about boxing rings, he's going to wear him down. He's going to do the jab, the boot, and he's going to do the footwork, and he's going to wear Biden down, and he's going to start to flutter.
Your man's gonna go down for the count later, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
You used the word smart. So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you
man.
know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. So we built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He will destroy this country.
You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home.
No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at
Add to
HoneyBook keeps your proposals, contracts,
Yeah,
invoices,
live
and
and
payments
living
all
color.
in one place. My name is Laura Gomez, and
the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland.
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to do that.
specifically?
But
Do it.
Well,
I
go
would
ahead,
say
sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right
So
wing.
what do you
Bruce, are you with me?
Yeah. Mhm. I'm with you.
When you
Hello?
see any type of clips of violence being taken place, who do you usually see committing the violence? What side?
Well, I mean, a lot of times it's been left and stuff, but I mean, they're both sides. I mean, anyway, you look at it, both sides are there's people. on both
Where
sides
where was the last time the right side held a rally and burned stuff up and was
I
out
don't.
there?
I mean, I can't sit out here and.
Okay, well, it's not out there, but I can point out multiple times when the left has been out there scrambling around, throwing tantrums, whatever you want to call it. But that was just one of the points that he brought out that he can continue to bring out in this debate, because unfortunately it hasn't gotten anything but a whole lot worse in the cities.
Look,
What are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name. Go ahead.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to
supremacists.
condemn?
White
Proud Boys.
supremacists and right wing
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker,
Yeah.
poorer, more divided, and more violent.
Randy, you want to respond to that?
We become weaker.
Mhm.
Come on. When Trump was in office, you didn't have one war broken out. You didn't have anyone challenging another nation's borders. As soon as he had the election stolen from him, You had Russia on the Ukrainian border, and then they crossed the border to bring war to Ukraine. You had the Palestinians attacking the Jewish population, raping, killing, burning babies in ovens, all that kind of bullshit. You have North Korea, they're back launching missiles again. They're testing multiple head weapons. You have China, who are going after various naval vessels. We are on the brink of World War III because everyone knows that Biden is weak. He's not. Our military has been weakened. We've gave up our oil reserves. We turned over millions and millions of dollars of weaponry that should have been stayed in our armories. So now we have to replenish our own things. You had the whole thing with the COVID shot. You had the military's going woke. You have the military. If you don't take the shot, you can't be in the military. So we lost 25,000 soldiers out of the army itself. We're back to where we were before Trump came into office with no military.
Okay, so let me ask this because I think it's a point that, you know, I don't know why they didn't make people, or they didn't have to do it. But let me ask you, what's wrong with the shots? Like, in your opinion, what you got? I mean, what's wrong with the shots? I had to take a shot before I came over here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to go over here to see my wife.
Correct. You talk about the COVID vaccine, correct?
No, that isn't just a USA policy. That's just a policy around the world.
Well, it is now. It is now because United States led that. You know, when you had the COVID being released in China, and the Chinese government knew they released it purposely, they had thousands of Chinese citizens flying on planes going all across the world, spreading the disease. They knew it was there. It was created by Fauci and his people. Okay, so it was a bioweapon that was created and released.
Okay, Reddy, we don't want to get too in depth into that thing with the jibby jab. Tonight would be a wrong night for them to want to try to find any violations. But just to make it plain and as simple as I can make it, why would anybody want to put anything in their body that hasn't been tested just because
it doesn't hurt you?
Somebody said you have to do it. Once
it doesn't hurt you.
Once you take it and they lie to me and tell me it's going to prevent and it doesn't, so then they give you another excuse and says it'll keep you from dying, and then people die and it doesn't. And once I figured out that it was, like Randy said, a bioweapon, because like I said, why would anybody give anything that wasn't tested on a human being? I think of things logically. They don't know if they're willing to use you for a guinea pig to see what works and what doesn't work. No, I'm not cool with that.
I'll answer Mr. Green's thing to Ottawa. I would never make anybody. Obviously, I'm just a nobody. So
no, it's up to each. It's up to each individual. It's up to each individual.
It's up to each individual. But when you gotta if you have to do something, you have to make a choice in life to do something.
There are people that lost jobs because they refused. I mean, you got people on a lower level, higher level.
I wouldn't force it. I would think that we've all agreed. I believe that it should have been just the people's choice, not. You don't say, hey, you have to do this or you're gonna lose that. No, I don't believe in forcing anything on anybody.
Well,
to me, that's wrong.
that was my only issue and concern was that they were making people take it without it being tested, and I didn't
Oh no,
appreciate
I
that.
listen. I understand, bro. And
But
you have that right to feel that way, and you have the right to. You don't have to put that in your body because you don't want to. You don't have to.
right. I got an interesting clip that I'm about to show, and it's going to queue up some more time because debate time will be starting here momentarily. Appreciate you tuning in, Mr. Green Thumb, and everybody else who is out there. We got quite a few that stopping by and stopping through. We're up to 78. Appreciate the love. Let's go ahead and get to this next clip. And this gentleman,
about 30% of the black vote has
very
left
interesting.
the Democratic Party over the last year. It started with our George Floyd interview, and then black people started paying attention, and now it's leaving. And Joe Biden's in a panic. The Democrats are in a panic. This is catastrophic for them. No Republican has gotten over 20% of the black vote. Nobody's gotten over 15%. If Trump gets 20% of the black vote, the Democratic Party is done forever.
Do you think he has a chance?
Oh, I think he's got a chance to get more. My next podcast coming out this Tuesday is going to be Donald Trump, the true first black president. Because the Democrats have finally done to Donald Trump what they've been doing to black men for 200 years. What they did to Donald Trump in New York is the Rodney King tape of the Democratic Party coming after white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Most coups start at the top. They don't start at the bottom. We very seldom see a Mao Zedong coup where they fight for 20 years. And,
right.
Usually they go and shoot in the head. They shoot and then take over like they're doing in Africa right now, right?
Yeah.
They go to the top and just kill him and they're in charge. That's what they try to do to Trump. Trump is not just the leader of the Republican Party. Trump is the leader of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who these people despise and hate. They have an enemy that they're trying to kill. And it is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It's not that they dislike him. The evangelicals, they despise them. If you put that group and you talk about what they agree with and about what the Democrats and liberals agree with, polar opposites. Direct polar opposites. And they know that Trump is the leader of that crew, that crowd. That crowd is his basis. That crowd is where he gets all of his power. And they know that if they take out Trump, who's going to take his place? Who can walk up right now if Donald Trump is destroyed in the Republican Party and have that crowd come behind him like they've come behind Trump? I don't think the person exists. And they know that. And so this was how the Democratic Party does a coup. They don't use bullets. They use the justice system. I mean, look at who they locked. They locked up Manafort. They locked up, they're trying to get Bannon now. They locked up his the trade guy with China. I forget his name.
Peter Navarro.
Yeah, Peter Navarro. They got Navarro locked up now. Now they got Trump. I mean, the people don't see what this is. When's the last time you saw somebody go to jail for contempt of Congress? How come Eric Holder's not in jail?
Or Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Or Hillary.
Banner's going to jail.
I know.
Navarro's in jail. Trump's the first person in the history of the country they ever tried for what he tried him for. Oh, yeah, they coming. And what they're doing is shooting across the bow to see how we respond to it. Because if we don't respond to it, they're going to keep doing it.
I don't think I could have heard it put any better. It's the shot that's rang across the bow. That's fired across the bow. And if the American people don't stand up for truth, justice, and for what's right, just like he said, they're coming. They're coming for us. What did Donald Trump say, and what has Donald Trump been saying? They're not after him. He's just in the way of what they want to accomplish. What do you think about what the brother had to say, Randy? Then we'll go to you, Bruce.
Oh, I totally agree with him. I mean, the guy couldn't have said any better. Trump's standing in the way. And as long as Trump is standing upright and standing tall and standing strong, the Democrats aren't going to win. But as soon as they kneecap Trump, it's over. It's over for Trump. It's over for the Republican Party. It's over for the conservatives. It's over for us. And that's the sad state of this nation, that we're a third world nation right now, where the government is allowing their district attorneys to falsify crimes to get people thrown in jail and to keep thrown away. It's a sad state we're in.
It is. It is. It is. Go ahead, Big Bruce.
Okay. I agree with a lot that Randy said. I think and I think the same thing with you two. I agree. It's put to the front, and they took it. They're taking things and making it bad for him, so that he can't have his what he believes in is fair for election. That's what I believe. We got
Mr. Green Thumb, I sent the link out.
Fair, not kneecapping people, not going after their families. And again, I'm not going to say what you just said towards the end, Randy, because I'm in a place where you can't say certain things like that. So I don't want to get, but you get that. Was it their plan? Sure, it was. Was it their plan when I think it was, what was it, the Russia thing came out? The Russia, whatever the hell that thing was back, that they tried to say. Was that their plan? That's what their plan was, because they got made fools, the Democrats, and then they turned around and said, okay, we got you now. And now look, as Randy said, and as you said, they have basically thrown everything at him that will basically, what'd you say earlier, Randy? He's not going to get in because why? Because they basically have chopped him at the knees and threw him already way into prison.
Yeah, threw the key away.
Well, I'm going to show another clip. We're running into time. We're running into showtime almost, but we're going to get another clip here because I like seeing motivational clips that let me know and give me hope.
Before we begin, I want to say it's a great honor and a privilege. I was born and raised, live and pastor here in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, the greatest city on God's green earth, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where liberty and freedom started. And now, shall we bow our heads for just a moment? Dear Lord, with humility, we come tonight willingly, and we come with humble hearts. We come to pray first to honor a fellow American and our president. We ask you for the grace of an open heart, the wisdom of a concerning mind, and the courage to maintain a strong will. We pray, Lord, that this country might be turned around. We pray for our president, and in spite of all that he's faced, all the difficulty and all the lies, we ask tonight that you help us to rise above it, that we might reclaim our personal liberties, that we might reclaim our country, and we ask for your strength and your courage tonight to lead us all as one family tonight, that we might take back our country. And we pray tonight that you would bless us and lead Donald Trump back into the White House. And we pray this in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. We pray tonight.
You know, just watching, and we got Mr. Green Thumb Ottawa in the building. Welcome. You know, just watching that clip right there. There was a time when I thought to myself, where are the strong black men that aren't afraid to speak out to the foolishness and the evilness?
I would say most of them are in jail.
Or
in
jail or looting stores.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
But what I mean, I showed 3 clips tonight of 3 black men who have made a choice that they would no longer be silent. And when this first started out, these voices were nowhere to be found, because if these voices would have been at the forefront a long time ago, we wouldn't be all the way in the situation that we would be in now. I've always told my followers, the church is going and has to play a major role in saving this country. And it's so good to see men of faith finally deciding to not be concerned about what their collection and offering plates look like, or what their political statuses may be at the end of whatever they want to say, but are willing to stand up now that they know that they have people that have their back and people that want the same thing, to finally lead their communities, at least verbally at this point, to want a difference. Go ahead, Ottawa.
Oh, I was going to say it's about time. The like Canada is pretty much like a Christian country as far as I seen, and I never seen a culture being and a religion being technically destroyed and stepped on. Like, I'm not a religious person, as you know, but I wouldn't do that to the religious people at all. I learned to respect them. Okay, they get different values than I do, but at the end, my mother showed me it's always about helping the next guy next to you. And those are the valor that, like, she was always helping. And she showed me, she's like, look, it doesn't mean because we're not following what the Vatican is doing. We're doing our own little thing. And that's what makes us Christian. And I did believe in some of those value at some point in time. But those are the value that I'm seeing everybody in North America technically shitting on, and now it seems it's a privilege. It's a white privilege. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like,
Right.
I understand what white privilege is, but if you're in North America, no one can tell us what a white privilege is or what a privilege is. Everybody is privileged in North America, as far as I see, compared to the rest of the world. We are, but then it's what we do with that privilege and how we use it, and try to better ourselves and build. And I'm like, I miss the old drag cars and drag racings and all that stuff. I'm like, back then we were building stuff. What happened? Oh, technology happened. A little cell phone happened. A bunch of little things like that we can't have what we used to. Like, our kids will never going playing in trees. They're going to have their cell phone in their hands and they're just sitting there watching it. And that's it, to me, that's what I'm seeing. It's what's destroying everything that we, like, our generation before us, build. And in some way, it's kind of my generation's fault. Like, we didn't see that coming at all. Like, I didn't see that coming, that eventually a little device would remove so many things that gives the entertainment that everyone is craving. But in a way, we're losing part of our freedom because of it.
Randy, you were talking about this yesterday. I know you want to piggyback off of that. I know you got something to say.
Well, I think what you're alluring to is the loss of the family. It's not a point of this being the devil or the destruction of family or of the makeup of our country, this is a wonderful tool, and it connects us to each other. But as a side note, it also answers one more thing in Revelation when it says that all man will see all at one time. I don't know the exact words of it, but that when the time comes, everyone will know at the same time. This cell phone connects us to multiple millions of people all at one time. So when the time comes, we're all going to know it. And this is part of the Revelation thing. But what I was saying the other day is, say what you want about anything as far as politics or the government. The fault of the decay of our nation, the tear down of our nation, falls squarely on the family, the mother and the father.
Yes.
When I was living at home, our meal times were mom, dad, my brother, and me. Our telephone was on a wall with a 20-foot cord, but if it rang, it rang, and it rang, and it rang until eventually my dad bought a answer machine. But no one had any distractions at the table. We talked about what took place in school. We talked about our homework, possible tests, things upcoming.
I remember
Dad talked about his job, and my mom just, she was the housekeeper, and she would just, talk about things that happened. When we brought the cell phone in and allowed the children to bring it to the table, eventually it tore it apart.
Yep.
Now they can go into the living room, the dining room, they can eat their dinner tables. Oh, they eat later, mom, dad, gone. Our government destruction fell on the family. We allowed religion to be manipulated. We allowed religion to be distorted. We allowed religion to be taken out of our schools. I remember prayer at the beginning of the school day. Yeah. Everyone, if you wanted to, you put your head down and you prayed silently to yourself. When we took the American flag out of our schools, we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Yep. We used to have the pictures of the president in the classroom. Yep. That was all removed. Now we have the government out of our schools. We have the religion of our schools, and it's been replaced.
Yep.
And that's why we are where we're at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I agree 100% on that. The cell phone is a wonderful tool, but in a way, we know it's a wonderful tool and we see it as a tool, but the new generation does not see it as a tool. They see it as something that's a must. Like, you take their cell phone away, they got no life. They don't know what life is. To me, that's what I'm seeing. The younger generation. I remember the old rotary phone at home, and it's like, yeah, that thing was plugged into an answering machine at some point in time, and nobody got up, and everybody did their thing. And it's like, okay, who would be stupid enough to call us during supper time or during our off time? It's off for everyone, and that's what we thought.
All right, gentlemen, we are 15 minutes away. We are getting into our last little bits. But before we go any further, we're going to sit back for a minute and we're going to see how both of these gentlemen got here.
Are you allowed to restream the debate?
We will find out. I've had a lot of people. I've gotten messages. I've just gotten a couple of messages where it's going to be a 3-minute delay in the stream. So that is kind of weird. So they can do their majibbery with whatever happens.
Yeah, I have no idea where to look at to get the debate or whatever. Like I say, I'm usually not interested in politics, but I do feel like everything about war right now is on this.
Well, let's see how we got
Yeah,
here.
that's what I feel. So I feel one way or another. It's what's gonna cause it or something. But then I'm more sure about one side than the other.
Well, first we will bring in the reigning champion from Scranton, Pennsylvania. We all know him as Papa Sleepy Joe Biden.
Hey.
And let's get the tail of the tape on Joe.
In Delaware, Caleb Boggs, a Republican running for a third term, is facing defeat by young Joseph Biden, who will be 30 later this month.
I announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
Are you running for president? I am running for president. And you're going to take on Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and all other comers.
I'm going to be Joe Biden. I'm going to try to be the best Biden I can be. If I can, I got a shot. If I can, I lose.
With some early glitches.
And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Well, let me go to the second thing. I've spoken of it.
Can you maintain this advantage without campaigning in a traditional way, especially this fall when voters begin to really tune in?
Well, this is the most unusual campaign, I think, in modern history. In that, but I start off with the premise, Mike, that I'm going to follow the doc's orders, not just for me, but for the country. It's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
We have to come together. I think they're ready to unite, and I believe we can pull the country out of this bitter politics that we've seen for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Biden's task now, a test of what he told me before the first votes were even cast, that he was the right person at the right moment.
The very things that I think are needed most right now in the country are not the very things that were needed 8 years ago or 12 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, but they're in my wheelhouse. It's reestablishing our place in the world in foreign policy and domestically bringing the country together.
And there is the champion. Randy, we'll start with you first, and then we'll go down to Ottawa. Randy, what do you think about the champion? He sounds like he's ready. He's back there. He's all lathered up, got sweat coming off the forehead. He'll be making his entrance to the ring momentarily. How does the champ look to you so far?
Hey, my man's looking good. He's coming out there. He's going to be revved up. He's going to have sweat towel on, and he's all prepped up. Yeah, he's got the slather on. Yeah, he's got the man back there, Pete, and getting ready. Yeah, he's telling him now swinging. I don't tell you what. I get my man. I feel good tonight. Feel good.
Well, his people say if anybody can do it, if anybody can bring the country back from the brink of self-destruction, it's Papa. And just moments away, we're going to find out. But before we get to that, go ahead, Mr. Ottawa. What do you think about Mr. Sleepy Joe and his chances tonight? How did he look back in the locker room?
Hey, stop the name calling. I'm going to start pulling it out myself. That's my man you're talking about.
All right.
I think he's gonna fall short.
No. Your man's going to fall short. My man's going to stand tall. He's going to be up there, and he's going to be
personally, both of them are not my man, but like I say, we got the same thing here. But it seems our voting time is postponed now. Again, it's postponed further now. So they're playing big politics here. Go figure. They put back election time.
Nick Lotcher is in the house. Canada is in the building. I am watching it on the projector outside tonight. I am stoked. We are all stoked. We've been waiting for the rematch for a couple of years now. It has finally come to the conclusion. And wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're gonna let's see what got the contender, Donald Trump, as he vigorously fought his way to the top. Let's see how he's made his way to this prestigious event this evening. If y'all can bear with my fingers.
Donald Trump is a major deal maker, and he has made his money mainly from Manhattan real estate.
Trump, 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 Trump. His name is his power.
We realized what Americans really loved was celebrity. If you were a celebrity, everything was possible.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
And if people mocked him,
Donald Trump is here tonight. He certainly would bring some change to the White House.
he should fight back.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
Here comes the war of the Trumps.
It was war, and they were determined to win it. You don't know what he's going to do next. You don't know what's going to happen to him next.
This isn't another video about Donald Trump's time as president. There are hundreds of those.
Over the years, I've surprised a lot of people. The biggest surprise is yet to come.
This is the story of how Donald became Trump.
I like it.
You can sell this $5 spatula.
Y'all know how
on
y'all
Amazon
get it. Live and in
and compete
living
with
color.
hundreds of other spatula sellers.
Man's got it made. Got everything.
Perhaps the most interesting result was that more people, about a quarter of all respondents, saw Trump as liberal, more than the share of people that saw him as a conservative. Trump's political identity had long been a mystery, perhaps even to himself. He was a rich guy at a time when being rich almost automatically meant being Republican. But his social life, the parties, the girlfriends, the tabloid stories made him seem more like a Democrat. Remember, this was a time when the Democratic president happened to be a well-known womanizer.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The results bolstered Trump's belief.
Oh, but my hand did.
Be president.
They say a job like president requires a big ego. How do you think? You think you can handle it?
I'm not sure my ego is big enough. That's one of the things which I can.
Really? Can I write that down?
Aisle had Trump's charisma or name recognition. If he could put it together, it could be a potent combination. On June 16, 2015, Donald Trump descended down an escalator at Trump Tower with his wife Melania by his side and Neil Young's Rockin' in the Free World playing and Change the World.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Negotiation skills he'd honed over a long business career to stop the US from being ripped off by other countries. But he saw things a different way. If Russia was willing to interfere in the US election on his behalf, why should he stop them? Besides, Trump was confident that after 40 years in the spotlight, Americans knew who he was, for better or worse.
And he's right. We've known who he's been, for better or for worse. And I'm glad to say that most of it has been for better. What do you say, Randy?
Ask the question again.
They say for better or for worse. What do you say on it?
You mean as far as Trump better than worse? I don't understand your question. So you're saying that you think Trump's
he said that we know who Trump is, whether we like him for better or for worse. Would you say most of his things are for better?
Okay, so they know what Trump is, and they're accepting him because they have no choice. You know, Trump, when he was in office for 4 years, he rebuilt this country. He made it a very powerful nation, a very wealthy nation. He did wonders for everyone's 401k plans. Bringing Trump back in the White House is not a bad thing. He's going to What I see happen is as soon as Trump gets in the White House, I see Putin bringing the war to an end. I see Israel pulling in their troops and bringing what they're doing to them. I see Chinese recalling their navy back to their ports. I see North Korea, not launching any more missiles because they know that Trump is not a man to mess with. I see the companies coming back to our shores. I see our borders being, protected once again, and most importantly, I see multiple millions of illegals being taken out of our country and returned back to where they came from. It is not for better or worse. It is for better, for sure.
Mr. Green Thumb, what do you got to say about that? Mr. Ottawa, do we still have you?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. I agree 100% with the last speaker. 100%. And to your question, I would say yes. Everybody knew who he was when he first came in. Everybody heard of his family and what he did before. So they knew he's a businessman. And I do believe that, yes, with knowing he was coming in, everybody was watching out. And maybe that's the reason why they don't want him again in power, for the reason that they're looking, it's too profitable. Whatever they're doing right now, it's too profitable for them somehow. They're able to take everyone's money and moving it around. A businessman would not let that happen. So is it for the better? I do think it is better. Can America do better than that? Well, we'll see. I hope he's going to inspire someone to come out to be better. I hope. But for now, he is the better choice.
Well, we can see everybody outside gathering around the hall there where the event is to take place. We have the distinct champion, Joe Sleepy Papaw Biden, defending his crown against Donald the Don Trump. And Randy, do you see a quick TKO? Do you see it going into the late rounds? Do you see Biden's endurance fading into the later round?
I think Trump is going to play him for as long as he can. He's going to drag this out. He's going to wear him down to where he's fallen over himself and he walks off the stage. That is my prediction. Meaning Biden walking off the stage.
To me, I will make a little allegation, as I see it as the Tyson and Jake Paul's fight.
Oh, you do?
And Trump would be Tyson. I think like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't know. We'll see. I hope something happens out of that. I hope all war will be stopped and we can be free again, and we can restart doing things and build better.
Okay, well, look like the odds makers got it 50-1 Trump, yeah. And we're gonna see what we actually have, and I'm putting my money on Trump. I think it's gonna be quick, and decisive. So I'm very intrigued. We're moments away from the bell. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And
I have a question
in the house. Yes, go ahead.
Is it possible that Biden would pull out the LED screen instead of being present? Because he's the thing with the mic and all that, they want mute mic and all that. Is it possible that he would do it elsewhere, where he's at home on front of a computer and he's debating like that, and he's putting him on mute every time, or something like that? Can that be possible?
I am really not sure if they're going to do that. I am looking to see which is going to be the best live coverage to have this. And as you can see, things taking place outside. I think we have the challenger.
Okay.
He arrived earlier, sometime on.
So is that Trump or Biden?
That was President Biden, I believe, arriving at Dobbins Air Force Base earlier. I don't know if we have any footage of Trump in the building, but if I can zoom in and if we can get inside real quick. We're inside the facility right now. You can see people getting ready and everything like that. If you had any advice, Randy, for Biden, what would you tell him and his team to stay away from? And what would you tell him what would be his best offense?
Stay away from. I would definitely not bring up anything about criminal court trials or recent criminal charges, because that's going to open up Trump to bring up about Hunter Biden and some other things about the Biden family, about the money,
right,
that comes from China. So I would say stay away from that. As far as anything else, I would say for him to go in for the kill as fast as he can, because he's going to wear out fast tonight. Trump's going to wear him down.
Okay.
Yeah,
what do you think, Mr. Ottawa, as we get ready to go into the hall here?
I can't give any advice. I think he's gonna fall asleep. So the best one would be stay awake. But like I can't see a debate between the two men. One is comprehensible and the other one isn't. So can a real debate take place? I don't think so.
Okay, I am trying to get live coverage if they will allow me. If y'all will just bear with me momentarily, we should be heading backstage if they allow me to. And I have to see if they are going to allow it to be restreamed.
Yeah, I hate to say this, guy, but I got a nasty splintering headache. And it's probably from all my making things up here and pretending to be a Biden supporter. It just blew my mind. So I've got to jump off and take some aspirin.
Go ahead. I appreciate you, Randy, tuning in. We're going to sit here and we are going to watch the debate live as it happens. And I will put the link up on the screen. Anybody that wants to come into the live coverage,
his microphone will be turned on.
feel more than happy. Let's get ready to mumble.
Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact.
Yeah, I miss the old debate where they used to debate each other, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think Trump, what they showed about the debate with Trump on the last one, I think that's accurate. Like,
and here comes Sleepy Joe.
Oh, there you go.
Making his way to the podium.
Well, he didn't fall yet.
No, he didn't fall. He didn't fall.
I'm surprised. I'm still wondering how many clones they're down the line at this point.
I am not sure, but we are about get this show started.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, "It's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right." The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure.
Speaking too fast, first of all.
And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing.
Yes.
Make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos. Literally chaos.
I think he took an adrenaline shot
Yeah.
just before. He's racing right now.
We brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs.
If you want to join a live stream, please feel free. The link is up on the screen. Yeah, Joe Biden is talking a little bit too fast there, Ottawa.
Price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation is killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant, and the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he
Trump is
inherited almost no
counterpunching.
inflation,
Trump
and it
is
stayed that way for
counterpunching.
14 months.
If you notice, Ottawa, he's letting Joe lead and he's counterpunching.
Yes, yeah, I see
It's
that.
the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration.
Look at that stare.
Even though we had largely fixed
Yeah,
it.
yes,
More
sir.
people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to
He's
go after
right
his
on this.
political opponent.
Yes,
all
he
of the
is.
things he's done, we've
I'm
become like a
surprised they're
third
letting him
world
get it.
nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President
Yes.
Trump, we will get to
I
immigration
want to answer on this
later
one
in this
too.
block. President
His light
Biden,
goes
I
off.
want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. Now, what I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%,
Talking about stuff that don't affect the
25%,
American.
either one of those numbers, they've raised $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look. If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
He went to Medicare.
Yeah, he messed up.
And he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people.
what we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex, but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was, an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also.
Good point on that.
Because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided, supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal. There's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous.
Is he trying to justify
and they try to
what the illegals are doing?
Thank you.
Yes.
There have been many young women
That's what I'm seeing.
by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision, and in many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion.
Tell me, but
Do you
he looks
support any
confused.
legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
You're lying. That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Under
Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do?
I think Biden just lost.
If the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks.
He was
or
the
7
first
or
one to
8 or
come
10
out
weeks,
and
something very,
do
very
a blatant
conservative.
attack.
Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers, significantly. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions,
Biden
insane
can't
asylum,
defend anything he's
terrorists. We have
done.
the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3 under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person coming in.
Well, that's the only one?
Killed 3 American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers.
That's the only
That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half.
Criminal.
He's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act.
Wow.
1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened?
But they're living on the street.
Orange or burn pits. They're all being covered now. And he opposed, his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the
you're
World
letting
War
them
II
live on the
cemetery,
street.
World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Oh, God.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have.
Look at him.
Think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
The 4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea.
Talk about the laptop.
That I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history.
He's still on veterans.
American history. and they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families.
But you got them living on the street, Joe.
That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our
But
history.
you got them living on the
All right,
street.
thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander in chief, if that's what you call him.
I think
that
so
we've ever-
too.
They can't stand
That's
him.
right.
So let's get that straight.
That's right.
And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was
Canada
such a
too.
horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we
screaming
left
him.
people behind too. We left American
Wave the
citizens
white
behind.
flag,
When
bro.
Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so
And
much more.
he is correct again.
Yeah. We're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it.
He has brain damage.
They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish. Kyiv, and he in fact didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done, and they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
as
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened.
Correct.
I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled.
Canada and
People
USA are
being
broke
killed
because of it.
so needlessly, so stupidly. And I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants
But why
all
are
of
you allowing
Ukraine.
him to do
That's
it?
what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because
Man,
if in
he's
fact
lost.
he does, walks away. By the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be
So far,
alive are
CNN
5
is
Americans.
surprising me.
Israel's response has killed thousands of
Yes.
Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the
Everything has
hostages
3 stages.
for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be.
He's not
They should
even
be
finished in
eliminated.
his sentence.
But you've got to be careful for what
Wow.
using certain weapons
Yeah.
among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean.
Yes, let's go
separating
back.
us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting you got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish his job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You can stay
But
in
he's
NATO.
destroying you.
The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens
He can't
if, in fact,
swim.
we have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And
He's
by the
full
way, I
of
got
shit.
50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine.
It's
including
impossible
Japan
to know
and South
what's going to
Korea,
happen
because they
in the
understand
future.
that this kind of dislocation.
That's what they
has a
do, though. They
serious
try to
threat to the whole
project
world
what-
peace.
I know.
No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the
Biden doesn't
United
know
States.
nothing
And
about
they were no
economics
cars,
or anything.
no,
like
they don't want
Yes,
anything
yes.
that we have. But we're
He's
supposed
not
to
a
take their
businessman.
cars, their food, their everything,
No.
their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this. I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question. Would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time? And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And
That's
you know what
right.
happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue
Exactly.
of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of
Oh,
them
boy.
stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people.
Here's your January
Correct.
6th
What
answer.
happened to the United
Correct.
States' reputation under this man's
Here's your
leadership
January 6th
is
answer.
horrible,
I love it.
including weaponization, which
I
was
love it. I knew he was
Yes,
going to do
it
that.
is.
where he goes after his political opponent because he
Take
can't
your
beat him
time
fair
to
and
do
square.
what you want to do, boss.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters
The
who believe
barbecue
that
is on high.
Get him back at it
oath
again.
through your actions and inaction on January 6,
Get him back
2021,
at it again.
and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard.
Yes.
And she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor in writing turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a
right.
speech. I
Spit
could
the
see what was
facts.
happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I
Security.
said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You
There
could
you
feel it
go.
too, and you
Hit
can
'em,
feel
Trump.
it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And
Yes.
it was the same day she was.
Yes,
I
she
don't know why
did.
She can't be very happy with her daughter because
Yes.
it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility
Yes.
for January 6th.
Everybody's seen the tape,
President Biden?
too.
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one.
No,
I
he
sat
haven't.
with him off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll not forgive them for what they've done. They've been
Oh,
convicted.
poor
They still
Biden
don't
lost that
treat
one.
Yeah.
No, he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what is being was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are
No, they
being held
shouldn't.
accountable. And he wants to
Period.
let them all out.
They haven't
And
even
now
had
he
court
says that he
date.
loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of
Yes.
so many people.
Yes.
When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that.
Correct.
The Republicans did
Correct.
go to
Thank you,
jail.
President Biden. I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the
He
matter
fell
is,
for it.
What he's telling you is
Yes,
simply
he
not true.
did.
The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over
They
desks.
opened the door. From what I saw,
The idea that those
they let
people
them
are
in.
patriots. Come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around,
Bring up
I
the
said,
first
will you
debate. Yeah.
denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that
Whoopsie.
horrible things, all of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo, that we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President
Thank you,
Trump.
Trump.
President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ,
There
into
you go.
the DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible
will.
judge, horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about
Exactly.
what they did, My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't
There
win.
you go.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases on the road.
I do not believe that.
He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked her.
Man, he's all over the place.
Those people, the ones who got killed, the ones
He's
who tried to
lost.
stop it, and the ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides. What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things.
on both
I'd like to know
sides.
what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency is
Yep.
question. The worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then
If you ran, you would stumble.
at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
Maybe because of political
and we
pressure.
will-
And maybe because of political pressure of their opponent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly. I appreciate everybody who is tuning in. As you can see, we are in the middle of intermission. So if you got to go get something to drink, if you got to go get something to smoke, or if you got to go use the potty, I suggest you go do it because we'll be back. What are your takes of the first round of the debate?
Well, personally, I think the barbecue is on high, and it's the pig is getting grilled.
He seems to be all over the place. I notice he's not finishing sentences. He's quickly jumping from topic to topic, and he's calling Trump a liar a lot. It seems that the only thing he can do is call Trump a liar.
That's something I noticed in the last 6 years. That's all they can do to nail their opponent is call us a fringe minority, uh, something like they always label us like recently it's the Nazi thing and all that. It's like we're all Nazi because we think a certain way. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know what my grandpa did when he was younger? He went to Germany. He went to fought there, and when he came back, he told me a story about what happened down there, and it wasn't what the public was talking about whatsoever. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we have to reopen that subject at some point now that most of the people that were part of that at some point in time that had problems, well, they're passed away at this point. So can we reopen the subject to see, okay, well, which line was crossed and where and when and who exactly? Because I think there's something wrong there. They're not telling us, and it's like since then, men have been profiting over that stuff.
That's right.
Over and over.
So another thing I found very, very interesting. What do you find to be more important? The fact that Donald Trump tried to have 10,000 troops there in the beginning to prevent anything from possibly happening, or them keep trying to say, well, you didn't do nothing after it started. I would think that they're trying to go all past the point that he initially told them to have security prepared.
Before I answer that, I would have a question. I saw a video where they open, like, I don't know if it's a real video, if it was true or not, but I saw guards opening the door. When they saw people arriving, they opened the door, they let them in. Nobody punched anybody. And then eventually I saw a guy kind of bending down, putting his hand in the back, and they just took a picture. Then they took the handcuffs off. And I'm like, all this shit is staged. And right there, I'm like, okay, so where's the insurrection in there? It's like, it's the same thing than us in Canada having a bunch of guys with trucks blocking the street and call an insurrection. I'm like, where the heck you get those words? No, it's not it. We're allowed to protest and do stuff without being called terrorists. But they don't seem to get that part.
Live from Georgia. Let's talk about persistent
We are back
challenges
live.
you both faced in your first terms, and you'd certainly face again in a second term. President Biden, while Black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, Black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and Black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small Black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're providing housing for Black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that Black families have to make relative to childcare is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce Black childcare costs. I cut them in half. We're going to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any Black family first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those Black families and those Black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for Black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing Black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the Black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking Black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking Black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities.
Hear what he's
we
saying.
made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent
Wow.
challenge is the climate crisis.
You caused-
2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating
to go
effects
back
of
and watch
extreme
what
heat,
Real News is saying.
intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump, almost every police group. And what he's done to the Black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically Black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job, great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are Blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the Black population because he's done a horrible job for Black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You've 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air. And we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever. And we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. In history, we find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water. He hadn't done a damn thing for the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones who was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people, but we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
About holding the line.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United States can't get its pollution under control. One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people to learn how to deal with them, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
so every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time of the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that I believe supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is we're in a situation where we talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden.
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of. I told you before.
They're living on the
By the way,
street.
when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford.
Wow.
President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now, all of a sudden, he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world.
Don't nobody
thinks
want to
we're
hear
weak.
that.
No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking
That's why
about
Russia
worst
invaded
presidents. I
Ukraine.
wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history, one through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make childcare more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people. I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that were imported. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden.
You lost.
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Seal the border.
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border were, it
started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways, but the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him, because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl, these big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of
Don't blame it on
all
somebody.
people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the
securing the
technology to
border.
be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage, we always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and to bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And guess what? Those fabs they call to build these chips.
Nothing he's talking about the American people give a damn about it pertaining to their everyday life.
Already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before.
We are.
We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and our those who he cuddles up to, from Kim Jong-un, who he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc., they don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's
let's
not act like children.
President
Joe.
Trump, we're going to
21
turn
Let's not act like children.
You
to
are
a
a child.
specific concern that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done, what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden.
None from
they
you.
took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He
That's
knew
right.
not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me.
They can say this shit. They can
But
say
now
what
he's
they
going
want
to take the whole thing from this man right here.
That's right.
That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever.
Didn't do shit on the
with
Trump
me.
watch.
And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these on in a week.
Speak that too.
I will absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else,
destroying
in a
our
nice
country?
location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level.
I don't know why
because
that's
the people
happened.
understand
It's
it.
happened.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all.
Just
And I
like the
tell you
laptop
what,
is real.
I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner.
That's not
The idea if you lose
Biden's
again,
fault.
you
That's
accept
his
it.
son's
You
fault
can't
for
stand
being a
loss.
bozo.
Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
But he still lied about it in
We'll
the
be
first
right
debate.
back with more.
It ain't got
from the
nothing to do
CNN
with Hunter
presidential debate
getting busted. It's
live
him
from
lying
Turkey.
about it.
All right.
It's like you having kids. Your kids
Hey,
lie to
bro.
you. How often you leaving them?
Hey, bro, I had to come up on the wife's phone, man, because her phone is like 100 times, it costs 100 times more, I'm just the cheapskate. So, anyways, what's your thought? What's your thoughts today? I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know why. Like, you know what Joe should have just said? He should have just said, okay, listen, if this happened, and I'm talking way back, if this happened that you're claiming that it did, okay, then we need to start this over, and we need to do it, because only fair elections is what we ask for. For whatever reason, there's this, that, and whatever under the sun that keeps coming up. All right, I don't care about what the courts said. The courts can say this, can say that. All right, because they're not always right, and that's a fact. All right, I don't like Trump and I don't like Joe. All right, but what needs to happen is people need to wake up and realize the truth.
You know how
and
I know Joe Biden and them are guilty, because they keep pushing it. They keep pushing it. So they implanted it. If they keep pushing it. That's why they did it, to push it. And see, thank God, like Trump is saying, my numbers went up, bro. Appreciate you. And you know what? The time has come where I want to be able to walk by somebody and not know if they're Democrat or Republican. Just know that they're a good human being by the conversation that we can have. And as far as I'm concerned, listening to this debate, The only thing Biden has done was call Trump a liar. He can't believe the malarkey. But like Ottawa said, Trump is a businessman. And Joe doesn't know how to come back when a businessman is pointing out situations that he can rectify in a situation. And the simple fact is, like Trump pointed out, every president was attacked or made a play being made by other countries except Trump. So you can listen to what Joe Biden says. You can listen to what anybody else says. Did anybody move on Trump? No, they moved on Bush. They moved on Obama after he drew the red line in the sand, and they moved on Joe. So all the other talking nonsense is irrelevant. It's the action. So Joe Biden would have been better off staying in the deep bunker that they had him, because you can tell he's sticking to straight talking points. He hasn't said one thing what he's going to do to make America better again. It looks like we're back. This might be the last of it, because on my time here, I think we're running
hosted by
short.
CNN, and at the
Almost
conclusion
past
of this
Papa's
debate, in less
bedtime.
than 10 minutes or so,
10 minutes
hoping you'll
left.
join us for analysis of tonight's key moments.
Our team of
Don't
political
No, I
forget
don't want to hear you.
that live on that broadcast there. I saw the live wasn't on.
Atlanta now.
Hey, what's up to the Canadian, man? What's up, bro?
Hey, bud.
To deliver your closing statements as
Closing
predetermined
statements,
by
let's
a
go.
coin toss. We're going to begin with you, President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
We've made
right here.
significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term.
Left him
We
a
found
debacle.
ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the
increased
pandemic.
inflation?
And he finds himself
Oh,
in
my
a position
goodness.
where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of
Left
America.
inflation at
All he did,
1.4%.
for
No
example,
ass.
he
It's
wants
up
to
to
get
what?
away with get
7,
rid of
8%.
the
Oh,
ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years, because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along. It's happening now, and everybody.
They're
in
helping them
America
at the
who wants to
grocery
get rid of
store.
that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care.
They're helping them
We're
at
going
the
to
gas
significantly
pump.
increase.
Good job, Joe. You're doing a great job tonight, Joe.
We're going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue.
What does that have to do with the
bring down
border?
inflation and give people a break.
How come they had a border deal and it didn't happen? What happened, bro?
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything.
Amen.
All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah.
They
for
got
terror,
some.
no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country
Amen.
is exploding because of
Amen.
you. because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like, even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
And y'all can go over to whatever mainstream outlet y'all want to go watch and watch the recap. But we're going to go ahead and give our recap right here real quick. Yeah. And it's going to be the actual and factual no matter what side you're on, because we've all just had an opportunity to see the same thing. I just want to see if we pulled the same pieces away from the puzzle. And we'll start with Mr. Ottawa first. Go ahead, Ottawa.
I think one side has mental. I think one side has mental illness, and I think the other side knows it.
Short and to the point. Was there anything that Biden said that impressed you, that you thought that he overachieved in?
I think his adrenaline shot at the beginning technically impressed me. Like he went through it. But other than that, no, nothing that he said, like, I don't know, he's not a debater at all. Like I thought he got destroyed and roast like a pig on the spit.
That's right.
I think that's what that happened. It's everything he's mentioning. All he can say is, "Sir, you're a liar." I'm like, okay, but look, where did I hear that before? Oh yeah, Nixon. I'm not a crook. Yeah, you are. It was proven years later.
What was Biden's best moment if he had one?
I would say the intermission in between.
All right. What would you say Trump's biggest asset was for him this evening?
His voice, like the fact that he's able to make a speech and debate someone. I think the like I say, I was talking with my roommate about that. Like, I know that, yeah, he's got dark skeleton in his closet, like every people out there, like everyone does, and like I never like I don't look at the president or someone in power, and I don't care about like the scandal with another woman and all that. Like I don't care about that part. I care, hey, does he do what he says he's gonna do, and is he over profiting over people? How is he as a person, and what does he do with people? Is he a good person? And if he's a good person, well, then there's a lots of stuff that we can overlook.
Yeah, because if you notice,
Yeah.
they're just trying to they're trying to make him out just to be a bad guy.
Oh yeah,
because of his shortcomings.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to completely exonerate him because I don't know the whole story.
Oh, he's a business guy. Of course, he cuts corner and all that stuff. But then, does it make him a bad guy?
If I work at a corporation and they come to me and I'm making $180,000 a year, and they're like, Ray, your boss was at the strip club last night doing cocaine in the bathroom with a stripper. I could give a damn.
Exactly.
I can give a damn. As long as my company's running right, it's not about to go under. My
Yeah.
man can go play golf, go drink a beer. Like Eddie Murphy say in that one movie, I'm gonna go drink a beer. You gonna go, what he said.
Yeah.
Hey, it's up to you. Whatever.
Exactly.
And
And
a down moment. For
the,
Trump.
the one thing I thought it was low is when he commented about his golf thing. I'm like, what the heck? What kind of president are you mentioning his golf like handicap? I'm like, I don't give a damn about his handicap. Why would I care about it? But no, he attacks him on that. I'm like, why are you even talking about his personal stuff? Like, no, you be presidential, but he's not. That's the main thing. He's trying to be presidential and he's not.
Well,
Meanwhile,
it was on full display.
yeah. Meanwhile, Trump, like I say, when he talked to the about Putin, and when he talked about the Chinese leader, he gave them a title. Like Trump respected them. Like, okay, look, I made deals with them, and then he asked him a question. He's like, look, during all the terms of every presidency, which one didn't send troops away? And yeah, sure enough, it is. And I looked it up, and yeah, it is him. Like, he's pretty much the only one that didn't send troop anywhere. He called them back out. Then his term finished, and then Biden took over. And yeah, the coming back wasn't what it was supposed to. And yeah, he was right on that. Meanwhile, Biden lied about that. He's like, no, it was the best with me. And it's like, no, it's not. It's been shit since you've been in power because you're trying to undo what he did.
and once again, it was put on full display that he has lost total reality of what the American people are experiencing. Big Bruce,
Yes.
the upside to Joe Biden tonight. Did he overachieve?
Listen, I just want to say, in America, we call it a pig roast. Here in the Philippines, it's a lechon roast, where you got a lechon, which is the pig. You roast the thing. Listen, I can respect both sides, and I'm just being truthful on this. And my brother knows how I feel. Joe Biden did towards the end look like he was getting knocked out from here to there to everywhere, and he looked like he was ready to pass out. I get it. He had, to me, we should, when it comes to taxes, we should have. We've got to have a plan for people because, people that work, they do. We have to pay our taxes. Just like, there's other countries that work and they don't pay taxes. We have to. In America, we have to pay our taxes. And I do believe, and I agree with it, that some people, even at 1%, if you're rich, 1%, 1 penny is not going to hurt the rich. Now, the upside for Trump was on his game. Trump was debating left and right. Now, the golf crap, I have no idea. Whatever. I don't care about your golf game. I don't care if you're in the bathroom doing something.
Exactly.
That's not. I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care. You know what? If Biden would have just manned up and started doing stuff and stopped letting stuff, then maybe we could have a little tiny bit of respect for the guy. We can't have respect for a guy that is going to be the leader. And that goes for anybody, Trump or him. If you don't have the damn balls to say, listen, you're going to pay our stuff or we're jumping out. I agree with some of his stuff. I don't care for Trump, but that doesn't mean I don't agree with some of his policies. Why do we have tariffs in there? Why did Joe Biden? What's up with this? You know why he can't? Because America will go under if he takes those tariffs out. It will go upside down. And everybody knows that's the truth. So it was a good debate tonight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both sides. And like my brother from Ottawa up there, we want somebody that is going to be a leader, somebody that is going to be for the people.
Yes, exactly. They have to be for freedom of fucking speech and all that to us. And like, they have to have the value of the people in North America. That's what it is. It's like, look.
Why are we the voters?
Yeah.
Why are we the voters? If we're the voters and we deserve our freedom that we get in America and we get in Canada, all right? We have freedoms even here in the Philippines. There is freedoms. But the point is, America is never going to be, and I've told my brother this the first time I joined his panel here in the Philippines, there are people laughing at us. And if you think I'm lying, then you need to get yourself here and see for yourself, because I'm not lying. They're laughing, and it's the truth.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's not hard to imagine because, like I say, right now that's what Trump was mentioning. He's like, now we're a laughing stock. At least Trump is a business person. We know that, yes, he might shit to bed in many different things, like building the wall and all that. It's not done because, yeah, you removed him before he was able to do more. But then would that have stopped the people? I don't think a wall would stop the people, but that's, like I said, that's a different debate. I think they can do better. A wall alone is not enough, but then like I say, I don't know that region well enough to talk about it much because I don't know the region much. But
Do you
the
know? Let
we
me
do need more.
Go ahead.
let me interject. Do you know why we need the wall?
Well, yeah, because of the immigration coming through and all
And
that.
not just that, machinery and tanks can come in behind people.
But should the wall, to me, should the wall be built on the other side?
No,
Instead?
the wall should be built right on our border, wherever it is, as long as we can have the means to separate ourselves.
And
Wherever
what I
the
mean,
wall may be.
what I meant by that is, can the wall be built on the other side of the border, and they protect their own side, and we
No,
protect
because
our
it's
own side?
well.
Should
I'm
that
just
be
I'm
like
just
as a
talking-
partnership? Should the wall goes like everywhere in their country,
No,
like all along the
no,
side of
no,
the?
a
But
wall.
I don't know.
A wall or any deterrent is for the sovereignty of your own country. So you find your tax, just like Trump went and bought all that steel, but like you stated, we don't know. It probably wouldn't have been the whole solution to the problem, but it's a deterrent
Yeah,
with
no, I
monies
get
that's
that. I get
paid
that.
by the taxpayers. And we also have to think long term. Suppose one day Russia decides it just wants to run tanks across the border through Mexico or anything like that. You have to secure your country if you are going to consider yourself to be sovereign.
But
And
what I
then, sorry, in the days we're living in now, and you got Russian ships and submarines off the coast,
Yeah.
they can easily offload them onto land. So we have to think about not just for human beings, but for a lot of other things.
But that's what I mean.
Let me say something.
Oh, go
Check
ahead.
this out. You got Alaska that you can see Russia from. If you're in Alaska, you can see Russia.
Right.
Okay. I live, okay, from that side of the world, okay, where Alaska is, and you keep going down the coast, okay. I'm on that west coast side where Alaska goes, okay. Now, do I think a wall is going to be okay? Now, I think about what Ray just said, okay. Anybody could just walk in, anybody could do it. They're going to have a harder time getting over it. There's obviously, but when he mentions tanks, trucks, any kind of things that can get through, if we don't have something, see, Joe Biden, he got stuck months ago, okay, and we're talking months back into the winter where he got stuck, where he has to make that decision to keep throwing the steel that Trump put in to make that wall. Now, is it going to be like we think? We need 300 miles worth of at least. We're not doing 20 or 30 miles. We're talking we need 300 if you're going to do it. Now, he has no choice but to do it because he's stuck, and if he doesn't do it, look what's happening. That's what's going to cost him the president, because of him allowing the people to keep coming through and coming through. Now, we don't know who's coming through, but we do know that they said it was specifically for people of asylums, okay, of Mexico, not anywhere else. It doesn't say in anything. It says Mexico. Doesn't say El Salvador. It doesn't say people from Colombia, okay, coming in and other such, okay? So now what if, let's just say this, now Ray talks about tanks. What if they send soldiers this way because they don't like Biden? What if they send other people because they keep hearing, oh, we love Trump,
Yep.
we don't like him? What's going to happen, brother, if we don't fix something?
In
Oh,
every,
no.
in-
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I got it. Like I say, I'm looking at the map right now because I realize, and I realize, yeah, the fence, like a wall between, would be okay. But what I was talking more is technically a deal with Mexico would have to be made, that they have to allow part of their soldiers to be on their side of the border with a wall there too, also in their country.
Mhm.
And then it's not just one side is building something to stop the other side, it's both sides as a partnership.
See this, and I see totally where you're getting at. See, this is where other countries benefit. The only thing Mexico had to do and could have did reluctantly, they wound up doing anyway.
Yeah.
They provided Trump with 38,000 soldiers to man the area down there.
Okay.
Where they was putting up the fence. No, Mexico don't have to put up a fence. If we put up the fence, shit, that's doing them a favor. They don't have to spend their money. If I buy a house and I got a neighbor and I want to seclude myself or get me some privacy, and I put my fence up, my neighbor comes over, damn, I wanted to do that for years, but I wasn't paying all that money. You did them a favor because they wanted to do that too. So
I just think two walls would be better than just one. And the army that's in between has to be mixed between Mexico and USA inside the middle. And they're on either side of the wall, and I think it has to be a joint effort. If it's only one country that's doing it, well, technically it makes
it can be a
I don't know.
It can be a partnership,
Mhm.
but
I think it needs to work.
The bigger, I would say, the bigger, stronger country, the more, the country that's more economically or financially in a position to do it, like America, I would say exactly the way Trump did it. I'm going to build the wall.
Okay. Yeah. No.
But you're going to give me some soldiers. You're going to partner because it's going to benefit both of us in the long run.
Oh yeah. And at the end, I would say when the wall is built on our side, now we're gonna give you soldiers, and you build your wall on your side, and like I say, like a partnership. I think it should be like that because
you can just
the problem is on both sides.
Have the soldiers just once the wall is built, automatically before you even do it, have an agreement.
Yeah.
With the country that you plan on neighboring with, putting up a wall, and because basically you're the big dog, and you're going to tell them, hey, I'm putting this wall up because I'm protecting my country, but it's going to benefit you too. So you can either ante up a little percentage, and then once it's built, you're responsible for keeping your people in your country. Yeah. I don't want to have people climbing the fence because then me and you gonna have problems.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
think I'm just looking at it from an economical.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I get that. To me,
unless they thought the American wall was too small. Now, if they built a bigger wall,
oh yeah,
it needs to be like, 40 foot. They thought American wall was too small.
It needs to be concrete. It needs to be a massive fucking concrete wall. That's what it is. And it needs to be 5 foot thick if it's gonna stop a tank.
Well,
really, realistically, if it's gonna stop a tank, if we're thinking like at some point Russia would come in with tanks and all that, but we need to stop that. A metal wall ain't gonna stop shit.
It all comes down to the things Trump is
But
talking.
I'm not against. Like I say, I'm not against the IDs. I'm just spitballing IDs. I'm thinking, well, if they do bring tanks, if you don't have a wall like in the ancient day, you're not stopping nothing. They're gonna go through one way or another.
America needs to learn how to mind their business,
Yeah.
help countries when countries legitimately need help.
Yes.
They need to stop trying to take over and conquer and
Oh yeah.
make a permanent residence somewhere and shit
Yep.
like that.
Oh yeah. Like I was mentioning to friends of mine the other day, I'm like, there's something in America and Canada that we lost. Like we were some of the best country in the world, and at some point it went to our head over the years that we had the best
Right.
school, we had the best things. Everyone sent their kids from everywhere around the world into our school,
Well,
but
you hear Joe
everybody
Biden.
stayed here. Nobody
You hear
went
Joe
back.
Biden. Biden says we have the best this, we have the strongest this. Then why is everybody doing all this shit to us?
Exactly. Exactly. But then at some point in time, we had everybody, we had everything, and then people forgot to go back to their countries after they learn everything and then make their countries better. That's why all the countries are going to shit. It's like, yeah. The future that we're promised. The kid never went back home. He went to Hollywood and he got fucked up and he's on drug now. And he didn't go back home to teach how engineering works and stuff like that. Meanwhile, he's got a degree, but he can't find a job. He's a drug addict on the side of the road.
You know how I wish Trump would have closed out the show. I wish Trump would have just simply said, "America, you've heard what I had to say. You've heard what Joe Biden had to say.
Yeah.
You're the ones out there living it."
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that's it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's all.
Well, in a way, that's what he kind of did in a way, because we're seeing how Biden responded to his attack, and it's like, well, look, both of you, like one is going like, this is misinformation. Yeah, but we all know where the word misinformation came from.
Yeah,
The
and we
other
know
side. The other
know
side.
what we're actually we know what
Yeah.
we know what we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
when you come out and you try to say certain things, see, this was just more of an opportunity to see how lost they really are. That's all it was, because he never said one positive thing that he was going to do for this country or that he done for the country that the American people can say, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all, I want to do this, or we did
No,
this. You
yeah,
just got to wait
you're
10
right on
years
that.
to see. You know?
Yeah, you're right on that. There's one thing about Trump that bugged me. It's at some point he got asked a questions. And I can't remember what the question was, but then he went around the question. He never answered it, and it was, what is he gonna do? And it's like, I'm like, okay, but after all the battling he's been doing and all the bullshit he's been put through, I'm like, name me one freaking president in the world that we have in America that has been put through what Trump has been put through. None. No president, even Nixon, got found like he was guilty and he still didn't go through that process. They still didn't do that to him. So why does it give them the right now to do it? And it can't be done to them. Only them can do it.
So
I'm like, no,
you're
that's
gonna
the
disagree. You're gonna disagree, okay? And
Okay.
I'm just saying, I'm not sticking up for Joe Biden here one bit. I want to make that clear. I am not. I'm a Democrat, but I am not sticking up for Joe Biden. Okay. The thing is, all right, the people of New York elected that fool that let those guys out that beat the cops. What happened to those guys? They got let out.
You mean
Two of them?
George Floyd?
No.
The
No?
ones that
No.
beat
The
up
one
the
that was
cops.
in New York here. The
Oh, I
illegal
don't know.
in here. They got in. Okay, they got shipped on a bus up to New York. Like they've been shipped all over the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
And they beat some cops down. They beat New York cops down. They got arrested. And Alvin Bragg, okay, and I've said this, I would give a chance. I gave a chance to, but Alvin Bragg, I did not give a chance to now. Okay, because he allowed them to walk free. If all three of us beat up cops, guess what? We're getting a bell,
Oh,
a
yeah.
high bell, and we're not getting out.
That's
Okay,
right.
they got let out. That's what
Mhm.
bothers me. You know what? Every time here in the Philippines, if you want to get extensions, you have to go to the immigration and you have to pay and you have to give them your passport. You have to give them your ID. Okay.
Yep.
Because they have to process. You know how that goes. All right. I can't stay here free. I have to pay.
Yeah, no,
And I have to
yeah,
follow
that
their
is the
rules,
process. Yeah,
just like I would in Canada. So
yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
my point is to Joe Biden is the people of New York is the one that voted that guy in. Okay, Alvin Bragg. I do not
Okay.
like and I do not respect after that happened to the police. You don't beat police up. Okay, the police we all back up. The for the people the people back up. Okay,
Right.
guys like that. All right, that's doing what he's done and overcharging Trump. Okay, that has nothing to do with Biden. Biden does not run New York. All I'm saying is that man and that firm is the one that chose.
Listen. I got to stop you right there. I got to stop you right there because
You
that's
can
all
stop
Biden.
me. That's fine.
That's
We're
all
gonna
Biden.
disagree, that's
Why
fine.
would the third person in line in Biden's Department of Justice take a pay cut and go down, leave Joe Biden's DOJ and go to Alan Bragg's office and take over what Alan Bragg was doing after the appellate courts already turned it away because it passed the statute of limitation. So the number 3 in Joe Biden, and it's actual and factual. Look it
Okay.
up.
I didn't. No.
So
I
that's
didn't.
Joe
I didn't
Biden.
know that. No,
Yeah.
bro, Ray, brother.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You're telling me.
Yeah.
See, you always tell me something. I always learn from you, man. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking
that's
up for
all
Joe
Joe.
Biden. What I'm saying, he doesn't have the authority in New York. But now you're saying this. Okay, keep going.
No. Joe Biden, the Joe. It's coming. All of this is coming from the top. There are very few people walking around today that's not saying, "Damn, they tried to take my man out." That shit is real, bro. Come on, it is what it is. We might not like it. We might not want to agree that our people can do shit, bro. I was a Democrat. That's why I left when I seen the foul shit. There's no slicing it and dicing it. They set my boy up and they tried to take him out, Stone Cold style. That's the actual.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, listen. We. That's the thing is. That's why I like. That's why I like coming here. Because we're going to agree to disagree. But the thing is that we all can do is we're all men here. We can all respect each other. And yeah, we may not agree 100%. This is what American things is. But this is why we sit down and we try to have common goals together. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We all want one thing in common. We want to safe. We want to be safe. We want to be able to take care of our family. We want to be able to go outside with our wives and kids, to be able to go to a park, have fun, go to a river, enjoy,
and
without
not get
going
mugged
out
or
and getting
killed.
shot up or
Yeah, exactly. And as far as I know, we're all we're all different because we're unique. And people now
God made
wants
us
to
all
be-
different, man. That's all.
Exactly.
It is, but,
Now
God is always gonna.
now they want to make us all in one look, and I'm like, no. I'm fighting for the freedom of individuality that I used to have, and they're like, no, you have to comply, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I never complied before,
And that's the thing. That's the thing when they tell you you have to. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
This only
exactly.
happens in movies. I have
Yeah.
to.
Well,
I have
every time, like I say, the earlier we were talking about the police and all that, like, no, I would say that yes, for the good police that we used to have, like it's been like I'm in a worse city to fucking talk about that, because here we used to have great police officers, and now 90% of them are technically pieces of shit. Like just for their actions daily, because they're forced to give tickets now to people for no reason, shit like that, and they're doing it. And I'm
Because
like,
they don't want to lose that position. They don't want to
yeah.
lose that job.
And I'm not, like I say, I'm talking about the point of view in Canada compared to USA. I don't know what happened in USA and all that, but and I'm not for aggressing the police, but I'm telling you, if they infringe on my right, and there's a group of them and there's a group of us, and they come at people, oh, it's our job to disarm them, to make them understand, hey, look, we're not the aggressive people here. We're not going to aggress you or anything like that. We're just taking your authority off your hand so you don't overtrip on us. And most time, that's the part that's misconstrued in people. It's like they think that you want to aggress them. No. I just want to make the officer understand, hey, look, you're not the power of authority because the judge says so or you get a badge. It's like, no, we're all common sense people.
It all comes down to a level of respect.
Yeah. Exactly.
At the end of the day,
if we see
I'm a grown-ass man, dog.
If we see 5 police officers on a woman aggressing her and all that and raping her and all
It's
that,
your duty
I don't care. The person is a police officer. I'm gonna remove him out of there. It's my
Hey,
job
brother, I gotta
as a
get
human.
going, man.
All right, we are
thank
landing this
thank
plane.
you for having this there.
Have a great one,
in
buddy.
America and Canada, nighttime in America and Canada. So
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming in.
Get out going. So thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You be
Take
safe
care.
over there in the
Have a good one,
Philippines.
buddy.
Mr. Ottawa, it was
Yeah.
a great night. I love
Yeah.
having
Oh,
you
yeah.
on. You got much common sense, and you know what you're talking about. And
My roommate was laughing earlier because he knows it's like all my friend knows I don't like I looked at Canadian politic and I hate politic. But I look at Canadian politic, I always say, hey, look, I don't look at the American politic at all. But this is more than American politic to me. It's like, no, it's the way of life of everybody is about to be changed again. And I want, like, this time we're aware. Everybody is aware. It's like, okay, look, can we pay attention to this shit? Because it's important. It's all our life.
and everybody might as well join the party.
Yep. Well,
Everybody
yeah,
might as well join the party because everybody. It seems like
we're all in it.
More important people are joining. So I don't know why people are still waiting to be the last ones.
Oh, I know.
Everybody wants to be a holdout. But I gotta go. I appreciate you for coming in tonight, Mr. Ottawa. You know you're welcome anytime. Prayers out to Canada and
And
the
yeah,
United States.
you can call me Alex if you want.
All right, Alex. That'll work. That'll work. Hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before I go, let me see what we had on the live show tonight. Let me go ahead and back it out and then pull it up and let me see what we did here. On Facebook, we are hitting 324 views. I haven't been anywhere else yet, but that is awesome for the night. I appreciate all the love. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing. But most of important, get them notification bells so you can get the notifications. All right. I'm out. It's been a long one. Mr. Ottawa, in the meantime, in the between time, until next time, brother. Peace
Have
and
a
love.
good one, bud.
All righty.